up, Unstoppables? Here we are in Iowa City, Iowa. We have 6 amazing interviews lined up throughout Iowa for you this week.
This road trip brought to you by Restaurant Systems Pro.
We are at Big Grove Brewery in Iowa City, Iowa. Today we have 2 interviews. We're talking to Ben Smart, who is the culinary mind. He's the executive chef. We're talking to Matt Swift, who is more the business mind, operations, growth, real estate. This is gonna be good. I cannot wait. Stay tuned. With excitement, allow me to introduce to you today's guest, executive chef and partner of Big Grove Brewery, Chef Ben Smart. My man, are you feeling unstoppable today?
I'm feeling great.
Dude,
I'm feeling unstoppable.
I am so excited for today's conversation, man. Building a network. I think this is really important when you're new. I mean, you weren't new to Iowa City in this area. You're from this area.
Yeah.
But your professional network was in different places.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? So why is it so important to build a network, and how did you go about doing that?
Yeah, I mean, the network's everything, right? Because that's how people get to know like what you're about, what your standards are, like if they want to align with you or not, and then just like shared resources, right? So in some sense, I would have like a network. Like we went to farmers markets and said, like, who's growing what in the area, and we would just make connections and tell them our story, what we're trying to do in Solon. Can we buy tomatoes from you? Can we buy asparagus from you? Can we buy this? And so it started kind of small like that. And then the other side of it is just like the chef network, where I just shared the vision. Like I wanted people to understand I was trying to do something a little bit different. Certainly not groundbreaking in any stretch, but like I had a vision and I wasn't just trying to like status quo.
Yeah.
And so anybody that came and applied or was working for me, I mean, I was putting people through the ringer. Like I was like, line cooks were having to stage and cook in the back, which is crazy. Like, I was like making them make like 3 dishes to see if they were good enough to. It's kind of ridiculous, right? I don't do that anymore. But at the time, I'm like, I just,
show me your friends, I'll show you the future.
Yeah, and and the people that were with it, that came and showed up and did it, like, I mean, they right off the bat, they understood that they were going to be a part of something, right? And I think that when you can kind of, talk about your vision, talk about like almost to the point where you're blue in the face, like, then everybody gets it and they can all move in the same direction, right? It just makes everything easier. Mm-hmm. It also pushes people way out of their comfort zone, right? And the people that are willing to work through that are going to be a better long-term fit.
And that's why I put so much emphasis on not the restaurants, but the people behind the restaurants, because greatness in this industry, in my opinion, starts with becoming a great person, and that's why we focus on values and ethics and story, so we can paint that picture of what is possible, what good greatness looks like. And man, you're painting a great picture for us. Thanks, I'm really loving the conversation. Yeah, so
as we find key talent, as we find really, really amazing people who, are maybe fledgling in their career, maybe change a career, it doesn't matter, right? We do a really good job of like bringing them into the fold, giving them opportunities, pushing them, promoting their growth, letting them figure out what they're really good in and what they love, and then just doing it, right? Like Matt Swift had a vision for a brewery. He's not a brewer. I don't think he knows how to brew. I mean, I know conceptually he knows how to brew, but he would not make beer, right? But we found an amazing brewer who now he's completely empowered to. We provide guardrails, right? And however they get down there, it's up to them. They can choose the path, they can chart the course, but we're going the place together, right? So I think we've been really great about finding those people, whether they're in the kitchen or the front of house, and like really empowering them. Not just like saying, oh, you're empowered to, no, you are actually allowed to make decisions. And if you go awry or you go outside of what we would consider like the right lane, we'll have a conversation, behind closed doors. And then it's a coaching moment, right? Like that's what it's about.
With excitement, allow me to introduce to you today's guest, founder of Big Grove Brewery, Matt Swift. My man, Matt, are you feeling unstoppable today?
I'm feeling unstoppable. Let's go.
Yeah, man.
Let's fire it up.
I'm feeling unstoppable. We just wrapped up with your partner, Ben Smart. Killed it. You got some big shoes to fill in, or a big show to follow. He was a great guest. He had a lot of great things to say about you. I won't say what he said yet, but we're going to get into it, man. Before we dive into your side of the story, let's get that motivational, inspirational ball rolling with a success quote or mantra. What do you got for us?
Well, my mom was my mentor and pushed me into the business, and her famous thing that she always said is not preparing is preparing to fail. And those are wise words and have proved to be very effective in the restaurant business.
Why is candor so huge? What happens if you don't tell people? I mean, I think you already answered the question. It bubbles up and then eventually people just explode. And it's too late.
Yeah, I think it just takes all the wiggle room out of the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
I mean, so if this is going wrong in the kitchen and I don't go tell Ben in this example, but then I expect it to get better, how's it ever going to get better?
Yeah.
And I think that there's this mind reading thing that people think, hey man,
Yeah.
I gave you a nudge. It's like, I know, and I nudged you back. I didn't know that was actually that you meant something like the burger was being made wrong.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like have to be transparent, honest. And I think the way that when it's done perfectly, the perfect combination, and you could look up radical candor videos and everything you want to do there, but the perfect combination is honest and direct with care. And I think if you can nail that, that's when you start winning. And that's when I think you can start seeing that rapid improvement. If you start thinking of what I would call people think of the burger as the problem with the burger is a conflict.
Yeah.
You know, they visualize it as a conflict. It's not a conflict, it's an opportunity. It's an opportunity for the organization to get better, for you to get better, for them to get better. Nobody wants to underperform. That's a big mistake people make. They think people don't want to come in and do a good job. I don't agree with that at all. I think people want to work to the level that you provide them.
Yeah.
So we can talk about it later too.
No, I think one of the things I'd like that you to share with us, and I think it came up, but the question I have for you is how do you deliver candor, which candor can be hard for a lot of people.
It's very hard.
Delivering it and receiving it, right?
Yeah.
What is the trick to having candor and delivering honest communication? I think you said it, but I want it to echo. Like, how do you deliver that? What's the trick to delivering that?
Yeah, I think it's just honest and direct with care. So yeah, the care part is really important. And, compassion can be a different word. Empathy,
that's the other word.
Empathy could be a different word.
Yeah.
Care to me and some of our values are literally set the tone, practice candor, we care. I mean, so it's kind of like a mix of those things in a blender. And then
I'm not telling you this to be an asshole.
Yeah,
I'm telling you this because I care.
Yeah, and it's like, hey Ben, I really appreciate you guys are working your butts off. But every time I order the burger, man, it comes out and it's like a little undercooked. And I just don't know if you know about that.
Yeah.
But I know you want to make the best food.
I'm letting you know because I know that it's important to you that you would want to know.
100%.
Right?
Yeah.
Awesome. I love this. So since you've done so many partnerships, what have you learned about partnership agreements?
Well, I think the agreement's important, of course. I think the most important parts are how you get in and out of them. I think that's something that, and what I mean is like a buy and a sell, and what happens if this person dies, and then what happens to the shares, that kind of stuff, all the morbid stuff. But also, what if somebody doesn't want to be in business with you anymore?
Yeah.
How do you handle that? We've had a couple buyouts over time, and they're sticky. I think that it's again, you got to take, to referencing what you said, you have to go 30,000 feet on that. And if somebody wants out, that's their right. And the number is the number, and then you'll figure it out.
Yeah.
But I mean, you got to take a step back and realize this isn't going to make or break the project, and we're going to be okay.
I think it's also important to identify these, and I don't want to put words in your mouth. What else is important? I'm going to see if you can get there first before I add it to the conversation.
Okay. I mean, and then I think it's just, game planning. And we didn't do this very well in the beginning. There's times when Eric was working harder than I was, and that's an issue. And it can always manifest in different ways.
It's also a benefit of the partnership. Let's be honest. Like, life can suck.
Yeah.
Things happen.
Yep.
It's not just your business. It's family too. It's health. It's for personal. And like when you hit a bump in the road, your partners are there for you.
Yes.
And I think people don't realize how hard this industry is.
Yeah.
And unless you're Superman or woman, like, you're gonna hit a hard road. And are you gonna be able to show up at the same level every day? Likely not. So when you need a break, and it's okay to need a break, those partners make that possible.
Yeah, I agree, and I think that that's one thing that's the unwritten, but also the rule that everybody knows is that we have everybody's back no matter what. And if somebody's in a spot, we have to step up, and I think we do that.
Yeah.
I would just stress that having a great general manager, a great chef leader, is just so important.
Yeah.
We wouldn't be able to do what we have done without having just great leaders on the ground. And I think that the more you mentor and work with those leaders, the more successful you're going to be.
Are people drinking less beer?
I think beer's going down, spirits are up, the RTD, which is like what they would call that, is going...
What does RTD stand for?
Ready to drink.
Okay.
So that'd be like your High Noons, Squeeze,
Got it.
stuff like that. That's kind of leveling off, but it went exploded over 5 years.
Yeah.
But still, it's a huge part of the market. I mean, I think craft is, I don't know what the stats are current to today, but craft beer is around 10 to 12%, and those are around 8 to 10.
Yeah.
So they went from 0, 5 years ago. It's pretty impressive.
Yeah. So what's driving this, do you think?
I think it's just society. I think people want to drink healthier, and they want to live a little healthier, and they think that that's a good product for them. And I think it is too. And I think it's lighter. It makes me feel light. I mean, I'm an IPA guy, so I always back into that. But yeah, I mean, I think it's not flavor of the month. I don't think these things are going anywhere. I think it's going to last for a really long time, and I think that people are going to. It was a renaissance back to light. So craft beer went really heavy for a long time, and I think that you're going to find that, hey, now lagers are really important. Now seltzer is really important. Now vodka is really important. Those things are going to start happening. It already happened.
Yeah. One thing I really want Restaurant Unstoppable to focus on, the mission statement is to inspire, empower, and transform the industry. You've absolutely inspired us. You've empowered us with your knowledge. Let's talk about transformation. How, in your opinion, does the industry need to transform? Like, what are we doing now that we could be doing much better to make a better industry for everybody?
That's a great question. I'm sure there's a lot we could do better.
Yeah. In your mind, the first thing, like, what's one thing that you think the industry just is kind of falls short on? And if we're going to transform the industry, if we're going to move in the right direction, what are the things that we can do starting today collectively as an industry? What's broken?
I think a pretty obvious one is that there's a pretty significant pay gap between the front and the back of house.
Okay. And how are we going to fix that?
That's a great question. I wonder how much people will pay for food.
Yeah.
I think that's an unanswered question right now, and we're going into territory that we've never gone into before with inflation. Right. Literally every day we're talking about pricing where we're at. I think that there's a limit there, and I don't know what it is. I think people want the experience, and I think we're going to provide that experience. But what does it lead to? And will people buy a $20 burger? I will in Chicago. Will in Iowa City? I think those are hard questions to answer right now.
Yeah. All right, we just wrapped up here in Iowa City, Big Grove Brewery. 2 interviews today, Ben Smart, Matt Swift. Man, you guys are in for a treat. We talked about candor was a big part of today's conversation, the communication, but giving hard news, but gently, partnerships, core values, and I mean, so much echoing core values and making that a part of your daily routine and working it into your culture every day. Awesome stuff. You're gonna love it.